We've relocated the big question to the South Bank today. This is one of the areas for live comedy in the capital, and to discuss some of the ups and downs of stand-up, we have got a mixed bag of lovely, funny people. To my left, we've got Max Fletcher, one of the new boys on the scene, I think it's fair to say. We've also got one of London Live's the star of Saturday Night, Jeff Leach from Jeff Leach +1.
Hello.
Hello. To this side, we've got Mandy Dassa. Mandy Dassa?
Dassa.
Dassa.
Yeah.
I thought I almost got it right, and then I didn't. You're pretty much a regular and established fixture on the comedy circuit, it's fair to say.
Couple of years in.
Fine.
Yeah.
And then finally, but not least, we have got Harriet Kemsley, who is a regular on not the one show, but also all the reviews. They love you, don't they?
Well, not all of them, but some have been kind. Yeah, not consistent, but yeah.
The rain is holding off. We've got brollies, don't panic. I'm going to come over to Jeff to start off with, because we mentioned the TV show, but obviously, where did you meet comedy? Where did it all start for you?
I sort of went the opposite way to maybe a lot of what comics do. Some comics start out in the scene and then move into doing TV stuff, whereas I started out presenting and then realised that I wanted to do something a little bit more live and enjoyable. I wasn't very passionate about the presenting, apart from the show that's on London Live, which I absolutely love. So I started stand-up about 4 years ago, so I could do interviews like this with tourists singing in the background. That's literally, I mean, now it's complete. I'm done, so thanks very much, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.
I almost thought we were going to get a heckle there. Max, for you, you've just kind of moved to London, you know, is this a tough kind of scene to crack?
Yeah, it's quite difficult exactly to know where to perform, I guess, and actually who you're performing to. I guess the demographics who actually go and see comedy it's quite a weird thing. I mean, a lot of people, I guess, are quite comfortable, I think, watching just TV sitcoms and that sort of thing, but going to live comedy is quite a different type of exercise. So it's quite difficult knowing just how to pitch it in, you know, this big city, you know, with all these crazy professional people who have such high
You sound like
expectations.
Little Orphan Annie, just, I'm in the big city, Dada.
It's so scary. It kind of does feel like that, though. I'm not sure. I don't know. Someday I guess I'll find my stride, and maybe I'll, you know, have the assurance and swag to.
Swag. I can't believe you just used the word
swagger.
Well, YOLO.
Let the boys wrestle it out.
Max is right in the sense that you don't know what audiences you're going to, and especially when you're starting out, and it's sort of like renegade stand-up, and you don't know the audiences you're getting. And if you're doing an open mic night, you know, you may be performing to 3 or 4 people, but the best thing about being a comic in London, especially when you're first starting out, is you can throw that gig away and do one the next night, the next night, the next night, and if you are motivated enough and send enough emails, you can double up and triple up, and there will be one, you know, as an example, if it's in North London, you go from Tufnell Park to Kentish Town to Camden Town, and you can pretty much guarantee there's somewhere for you to go. So I think it's a great place to do comedy, really.
Harriet, in terms of, this is probably the hardest question so far,
Oh,
okay?
right.
What makes a good comedian, do you think? I know it's subjective, comedy is subjective, but what makes a good comedian?
I think someone that takes risks. I think you have to. The comics I really love fail quite a lot, and I quite like that. I need to get better at that. I think, of taking the risks and kind of doing things that isn't going to work every time.
Okay, and we have got a bit of a male-female divide, so while we're on this side, is it different? If you're a man, is it easier? Or is it, you know, are we balanced these days? Are we going to be as honest about saying that?
It's balanced, I think.
I think so, and I also think that women in comedy, I mean, I just think there's so much to choose from, and I think that anyone who says that women aren't as good at comedy, they just need to look at what's on, and you can see that there's plenty of awesome female comics out there. So no, I don't. I think it is, yeah, pretty balanced.
I'm going to take some of the things that you mentioned and put them to Jeff. Do you take risks as a comedian?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I started out, maybe I took too many risks, and Harriet's laughing. I was a little unhinged in the first year and a half of my stand-up, and that half of the people absolutely adored it, and half of them hated me for it. Then I spent a year worrying too much about what I thought. This is where Max, when he said earlier on, it's hard to know how to pitch what you have to do. You've got to stop worrying about that, because I spent a year really worrying about who was I performing to, how was I performing, should I be doing more of this kind of comedy to try and get on that kind of show. And then after that year, I've realised now, probably because I'm tired, I'm perpetually tired now because I have a stepdaughter, so I don't care about anything now. I do exactly what I want to do. but with the maturity that I didn't have when I first started out in stand-up, and that's kind of found a happy home. It's called Find Your Comedy Voice, and I found mine, and it's kind of quite bassy and a little bit foreign sounding. That's mine. And you know what? Also about the girls thing, there's not a day that goes past that I don't wish I was a woman. I mean, it's got nothing to do with comedy. But I just wish. Sometimes I get dressed up at home, Anthony, just like throw on some heels and a little bit lippy.
You want to move on to Drag Queens of London? That is your choice. You can do that.
They want to move on to me, Anthony.
Max, actors, presenters certainly seem to migrate to London because it is, you know, the place to kind of get the work. Is it the same for comedy?
I should think so. I don't really know what it's like or how you could possibly go about doing comedy in a different city, to be frank. I mean, that's where, well, I guess this is where the media industry is. I'm not really sure, like, being a stand-up comic in Droitwich or something, like how far off the ground you would get. Or, yeah, it just seems like such an obvious choice.